May 2nd, 2017. This is The Weekly Show with your host, Lorne Riseley.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of The Weekly Show. I'm your host, Lorne Riseley. Sorry again for no desk, sorry for the hat, but at least I'm wearing a blazer and shirt this time, so at least I'm making a half attempt to look professional. On this occasion, this is going to be a two-segment show for once. Last two episodes really haven't been segmented at all since the first episode, so apologies for that. But in the first segment of the show, I'm going to be talking about something that we've all dealt with. We've all had interactions with to some degree or another. I'm going to be talking about overreactions on social media. We've all been there. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I guess. I don't have Instagram or Snapchat. But something happens in the world. Something big, something monumentous, something that doesn't happen every day. And there is an immediate rush for everyone to get their 2 cents in on social media, usually clambering to side with whatever standpoint or viewpoint has the strongest sway, or indeed to be the contrarian, to see immediately where people tend to be voting or tend to be swaying towards the opinion of, and going in the exact opposite direction for one reason or another. Perhaps it's to needlessly mock or annoy people, to troll people, or just because you genuinely hold the alternative belief to other people. I'll bring it back because I want to preface the reason why I'm bringing up this topic on my channel here on YouTube, and indeed on VidMe now that I'm on there as well, which seems to be a slightly different environment, and I'll explain why for a moment. In a moment, I should say. On YouTube, there seems to be a very strong need for people's opinions to be carried across in one way or another. It could just be provoking a reaction. It could just be adding a voice to a larger community. And it occurs to me that people just don't take the time to sit and think about how they feel about things these days before they feel the need to kind of go overboard and really vent their passion and their frustration or their anger or their delight or relief or whatever the case may be. It seems to me that the rush to either condemn or admonish or whatever the case may be, something that happens is it leads to a lot of problems. The main problem I see is this sort of gang or mob mentality, this idea that one opinion overarches others, and if you don't conform to that opinion, then you're shouted down, your opinion is made less. In fact, one of the best arguments for people to put across is that an opinion is unpopular and therefore it must be invalid or wrong. This is an argument usually leveled in debates where people are kind of bored of arguing with the person that they want to argue with at that point. Ideas, in that sense, stray from the mean sentiments, and in that sense the debate doesn't become a debate anymore, it becomes literally a shouting match between two parties. Now, to bring it back to YouTube, on my channel for instance, I've actually encountered very little in the way of trolling or negative opinion, but you do see the occasional mean comment, and you do also have to make a decision about how you want to react to it. Now, for me, it's always been about enlightening and engaging people. It's the reason why my comment section tend to be more populated than others with way more video counts than mine, in terms of how many views they've got, how many likes they've got, etc, etc. The reason for that is simple. I like to engage my audience. I like to make them think that they've got an investment in the channel and that their voice is heard and appreciated, even if they disagree with me, even if they call me a f***asshole and say my content is shit. That's the beauty of free content here on YouTube and VidMe. The fact is, people can have an opinion and express it without fear of reprisal or indeed any real repercussion for their opinion. Now, the problem I have with overreacting on social media, and the reason why I think there should be some kind of cooling off period for social media at least, similar in a certain way to an app that I heard about a few years ago where there was an email disability on your account. Basically what it meant was that you'd go out on a Friday night, get absolutely send an email that you know you're going to later regret, but your mind goes, don't worry, just send it. And what happens is it puts a time delay on the sending of the email. You cannot physically send the email until this delay is met. And what it meant was that a lot of people saved themselves potentially a lot of embarrassment by sending an email that they know they shouldn't, delete it and kind of move on with their lives. Social media doesn't really have that. What we have with the internet these days is a number of occasions where people will post something online be it voluntary or involuntary, and then it's there. It's there forever and ever. You can't really erase something from the internet once it's there. You can try your best, but the chances are someone's downloaded it and kept it on their PC. They'll share it, they'll make copies of it, they'll bring it back when you least expect it. It's very difficult to control. And you see a lot of things on Twitter and Facebook that amount to shock stories, things that are designed to invoke a response or designed to make you share or repost them in an effort to kind of spark outrage and fan that flame. Now, the reason why I want to bring this to in people's attention, and the reason why I want people to rethink their habits when it comes to this is very simple. I started the show, or the channel I should say, Halcyon, which is what this weekly show is kind of an extension of, in the sense that Halcyon and the theory and the principle behind Halcyon was, when I was watching YouTube a few years ago, I remember just a constant sense of urgency from everybody, in the sense that it was only the latest stuff that was covered. It was only the most controversial stuff that was covered. It was the things that was going to get the most views in the least amount of time. It's the same way that most news channels operate, to the same extent of shock value, and everything has to be now, or it's nothing. Halcyon in itself, the definition of the word is something along the lines of to go back to a point of peace and serenity, or indeed when it's a term of embracing a slower and more rounded view of things. At least that's my interpretation of it. And that's the reason why I picked the name Halcyon. It's a cool name, but it embodies my philosophy, which is to try not to react to things straight away. The reason for this is simple. When you react to something, good or bad, or angry or sad, or whatever the case may be, it tends not to be the best opinion or the most rounded one. In fact, it tends to cause more problems than it solves them. An outpouring of, love and affection and stuff like that can be helpful sometimes. But I think also the need to feel a part of something larger than yourself can also have downsides. It can have negative effects. It's the reason why I don't tend to conform in a lot of things to the way I structure my channel. I don't focus on any one thing, because then I think it negates the need to be creatively assertive. It means that I can kind of do whatever I want to do. It means I don't have to post, needlessly pointless videos that, I do them for fun. It's also the reason why I don't tend to get involved with things online unless I'm particularly passionate about and I have an opinion that's worth sharing on it. At least I think I do. I know a lot of people would have that same stance, and that, well, I only want to say something because I think I've got an opinion. Yes, but is it educated? You're actually contributing to the conversation. You're actually adding something that's going to help spur the argument forward, rather than oversaturate the opinion pool with needlessly in it. Now, overreaction to social media is it's hard to govern. In fact, it's impossible, because, you get trolls, you get people that quite frankly make a living out of it. I myself am a contrarian. I kind of can't help it. I hear an opinion, I kind of want to take the opposite view because I like poking the bear with the stick sometimes. Now, I never go so far as to troll people. If I did, then it'd be very easy to be able to just go onto my Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, or indeed sometimes I've heard this on POF, dating websites, and just take the mick, just go nuts on people, just ragging on them, but stupid little things. And to be honest, it's not that hard to do, and I can see in a really sadistic way why people do it, because to be honest, people do take themselves too seriously online. It's very easy to kind of go overboard with your online persona rather than who you are as an individual. I take the stance of one CM Punk, or Phil Brooks to you, ex-WWE wrestler turned UFC fighter. I use that term very, very loosely. Who did a podcast where he talked about, how he treats people on Twitter. Now, while I don't think he necessarily embraces the sentiment to its whole, I am of the similar opinion, which is, none of these people would ever say any of this stuff to my face. And if they did, they'd probably end up in an argument that would end up in some sort of physical altercation. Why? Because I'm not the easiest person to provoke, but once you push me over the line, it's very, very difficult to talk me back down. Which is why I take the precautions in the first place, to try and make sure that I've taken every step necessary to try and avoid conflict and promote debate. I like debating with people. I love it. It's great. It means that I grow as an individual. I take on another viewpoint or standpoint, or I assimilate more information that makes me more well-rounded and better to debate the next occasion. It's people that you can't debate with that annoy me, and this is why I come back to overreactions on social media. People more often than not have made their mind up when they're voicing their opinions on social media, and that annoys me. If you take to social media, presumably it's to contribute to a discussion, or indeed to take something away from a discussion, not just to put your 2 cents in and ignore everything around you in your own little bubble. Social media promotes that to an unhealthy extent, I would imagine. It's the reason why I try to invite negative criticism from people. It's why I very often put myself down, because I just think by inviting the negative, it makes the positive more balanced and more well-rounded. You're not getting positive promise from every single thing you do, because not everything you can do is going to be great. Negative criticism all the time is bad as well, because some of the stuff you do is going to be f***ing amazing, and you do deserve praise for what you do. Everyone's special and unique in their own ways. Yes, I get it. The special and unique snowflake thing kind of washes thin on some people, but I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe everyone on this planet has something they contribute that they do better than everyone else. Me for one, I care too much about that no one should care about. Honest to God, I wish there was a time where I could just flick a switch and not care so much about a lot of things that don't matter. But there are people that can. There are people that are good seamstresses. It's the only thing I can think of coming out. There's good people, good footballers, people that are good at growing beards, whatever the case may be. And this lack of acknowledgement of one's self-worth is what I think people contribute so much of themselves to social media. This channel is an embodiment of me, of what I think I can contribute to the world, which is a balanced view, or at least an attempt to have a balanced view. And I would invite anyone that watches this particular show to try and have a similar output, to try and look at things from a more balanced perspective. Rather than the next time you see a post on Facebook that's, these top 10 shocking moments, and you click on it and you kind of flick through and you're just sucking it in for entertainment's sake. Or the next time you see a sporting event or even a tragedy, okay, now this is the thing that gets me, and this is why I might a few people. I'm not the sort of person that jumps on a bandwagon whenever a tragedy occurs to change my Facebook photo or to, tweet a vague response to say, yeah, prayers, peace be with, thinking of you. Because you're not. You might feel an initial response, but if you're not advocating a real change, or you're not actually contributing to the debate which needs to happen afterwards in events like this, such as the ill effects of terrorism, immigration, our identity as a nation, sporting events, do you believe in loyalty, do you believe in the old traditional values of a sport, or are you embracing the elitist version of a new era of sporting, yada yada yada. Debate that, but oversaturation of social media is something that annoys me to this day, and I wanted to bring it to people's attention. Do you think you overuse social media? Do you think you could go a day without looking at your phone? Do you think you could turn off that app? I challenge you to try it today. The weird thing is, over the last couple of months, by being busy in my own life, by trying to get back in shape, it happened very quickly, I'll give you that, but I'm trying. And if people who've known me lose weight before, they know the transformation can be pretty dramatic when I put my mind to it, so let's hope I don't go extreme again. Can you turn off your app? Can you turn off your phone? I can. I've done it on a couple of occasions, and I've got to tell you, it's fucking bliss when you do it, to shut out the world for 10 minutes and just see the people around you, see the world you live in, rather than this big wide open space that social media has kind of opened your eyes to. Yes, it's great to know that the world is bigger than your doorstep, but really, is it? I think we lose touch with ourselves sometimes. I think social media and the ability to be able to just vent on social media and have an identity and a persona that isn't really us on social media is dangerous. And I would hope that people would look at that and kind of take stock for a second before they go any further. So that concludes the first segment of this edition of the Weekly Show. Stay tuned for segment 2 that's happening in a moment. But we're going to come back to what I wanted this show to be originally, and is have an ad break, because everyone loves ad breaks. Nah, not really. But I do want to promote other channels, and I want to do it in a very direct way. So every week on the Weekly Show, there's going to be an ad break, middle of the section, around 15 minutes in. And on this occasion, there's going to be one guy that has supported me for a while now. It's given me way more shout-outs than I had any right to amass. Really cool, talented young YouTuber by the name of BBK Smasher, exclamation mark. Makes top 10s, reviews, movie reviews, game reviews, things of that nature. Made a shout out to me in one of the previous videos, so it's only fair I give him a shout out on this one. But it's also going to be followed by another 2, that's right, I'm going to promote 2 for the price of 1 in this episode. GFY Productions, dude by the name of Craig, who's just had very, very serious brain surgery. So people, if you're going to give him a watch, if nothing else, go support this man in his passion for making videos. Is another dude, gives controversial opinions, very low produced, but exceptionally well presented shows based on political views, parodies, reviews, things of that nature. So go check him out. Both are linked in the description below. But here are two previews, shall we say, of their channels, and I'd appreciate if you go check them out. Here we go.
Yes, guess it! I finally get to review the Arkham games. I mean, where should I start? I mean, I am a big fan of Batman, and... Ow, what the I don't know about you guys, but after playing the Goblet of Fire game, I've started to hate this series. Very much so, where it's come to the point where I want to break every Harry Potter disc I own. And you can't really blame me, considering we had 3 solid Potter games, and then we came to the 4th one, well, it was
Hello everyone, Craig here, and this is GFY Productions. We're about comedy, satire, parody, skits, whatever makes you laugh. I might be a little bit more vulgar than Halcyon, but in the end it's all comedy. I don't try to take myself too seriously, and in real life, I'm really not that opinionated about stuff. So when you come to GFY Productions, just come to laugh. If you're weird or you don't have many friends, this is the channel for you, because I'm also weird and have very few friends. Anyway, thanks Halcyon for plugging this. Totally don't have to, but I appreciate it. Great guy, great channel. What else can I say? Well, I won't say my catchphrase, because don't want to get anybody in trouble. Alright, peace.
Hello, and welcome back to segment 2 of the Weekly Show! That's kind of become the catchphrase now. I said it in the first episode because I couldn't pronounce the Weekly Show. Weird. Anyway, the second segment's actually going to be significantly shorter, so apologies for not kind of doing it half and half. Perhaps I should get better at that. But never mind. The second segment is going to be talking about something that I posted on Facebook a couple of times and Twitter to kind of show how much of a non-conformist I am. I'm going to be talking about censorship, YouTube specific. It's also the reason why I ended up branching out into VidMe, another video content sharing website, albeit it's more creator oriented. I was talking about in the first segment overreactions on social media. Don't tend to get that on VidMe because it's other creators. We all appreciate how hard it is to make video content, how hard it is to sit in front of a camera and film this stuff or produce it, or whatever the case may be. So you don't tend to get as much hatred on there or vitriol. But on YouTube, it's slightly different. In fact, it's evolved to the point where YouTube itself is starting to alienate its creators, and I'll explain why. A few weeks ago, what happened was UK advertisers, specifically government-oriented advertisers, were realising that their ads were being aired on pro-terrorist videos on YouTube. The kind of shows that show you how to stab MP vests and shoot people and make homemade bombs and really stupid that YouTube should be doing a better job of monitoring and non-monetizing in the first place, let alone just letting it go up and then running ads on it. Anyway, with the amount of content that's actually posted on YouTube, I understand it's nearly impossible to vet every single video that comes through. However, I do think there should be a stronger streaming process for whoever gets the ability to make videos. I myself, for instance, just applied. I just typed in my email address, gave a few details, and there I was up and away on YouTube, which was great for me. But had I been a terrorist, that's not great, to be perfectly honest with you. I think, tight security wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Anyway, back to the point at hand. So what happened was a bunch of advertisers, including other more prominent advertising companies, which represented companies like Pepsi, McDonald's, and big multi-million conglomerate companies started pulling their adverts off YouTube. And as a result, YouTube advertising revenue has now changed. So you can't earn revenue on videos that are under 10,000 views on one video. This is a symptom of a larger problem, which was a few years ago, YouTube decided to launch a content copyright claim robot. Basically what it does is it patrols YouTube, snapping up people for using copyrighted content that someone claims to own. Now the problem with this is that it's non-discriminatory. It literally snaps images or it scans for audio and video that basically it meant a blanket ban for anybody trying to copy, to review anything. Now, for film and music, you could understand this to an extent because it's very difficult to justify uploading an entire song and talking over it and calling that fair use. I myself have done a few reviews on movies and a music video, and I'm planning to follow music videos up because I think it's funny to parody them, and I think it's funny to take the mickey out of them because of how dumb they are, quite frankly. There's no artistic element to that, but that's another story for another time. Anyway, but the problem is that what I found very early on in my YouTube career, I guess you could call it that now that I'm up to 100 odd videos, is that this claim system would unilaterally ban or unilaterally claim content that it claimed belonged to someone else. Now the problem with this is that there's something in America called fair use, or the fair use doctrine. And what it means is that so long as you're not attempting to replace or replicate another copyright piece of content in an attempt to compete with it, or so long as you're offering an educational or something that's based on critique, you can use it under fair use within reason. Now, obviously, there are extremes of this, in which case people will, upload full movies to YouTube, full music videos, things of that nature. Now, for the casual viewer, I can understand this is very, very tempting to click on and watch. In fact, I've had to sample a few videos here and there because, well, I've got to review stuff, and it's, I'm far too goddamn lazy to go pick up my DVDs of the things and put them in a disc tray these days. That's how lazy I am, and that's why I need to get my sorry ass back in the gym. But for the creators themselves, I can understand this being a problem, and I can illustrate this no better than me as a creator. I'm trying to build an audience. I'm trying to build a reputation. I'm trying to build a space where people they know what they're getting and they appreciate what they're getting. But you want to be compensated for that in some way. Now, even though I earn nothing off YouTube, I literally earn nothing. In fact, I think to date, 5,500 views or thereabouts, 117 subs and over 100 videos, I've earned $1.14 from my videos. $1.14. That's almost $1.15. So I don't do it for the money. If I did, I'd struggle my ass off. But the point is that even before I discovered the monetization aspect of YouTube, I loved making videos. It was fun. Now the problem occurs when someone just tags it and says it's theirs. Now even though it makes no difference to me whatsoever from a monetary standpoint, none whatsoever, the fact that someone saw it fit to claim my product, something that I'd invested a ton of time, energy and effort into honing, making better, editing, writing scripts for, filming. You have no idea how hard it is to set up a camera and do this. It's more difficult than you can imagine. In fact, I'd evidence by saying, does anyone want to be on the show? And I can hear all of you collectively screeching backwards and making excuses for why you can't be on. It's not something anyone really wants to do. And in fact, I don't enjoy the film aspect as much as I do just the creative aspect, thinking of ideas, honing them, crafting them, and making them as good as they can be to release for your enjoyment. Now, the thing is, when someone claims that, there's something inherently violating that makes you feel. It makes you feel like someone's infringing on something that you've made. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because we live in an age where it's getting dangerous now. Not just for YouTube, but your personal information is all over the net. Your Facebook, your Twitter, your whatever it is, You post your pictures, you post your information, you post your likes, your dislikes, your opinions, you have a list of your friends, you tell it where you are, where you've been. Now, this information goes somewhere. Someone has access to this information, they're processing it, they're using it for one reason or another. They don't store it for funsies. They store it for a commercial purpose, or more malicious purposes if you want to believe some other websites and threads on Reddit. But the point is that the more I think about it, the more I don't like the fact that there are elements outside of my control that can be implemented by someone who's simply more powerful than me. YouTube is an example of this, but the idea that my information is somewhere being stored for whatever purpose, it was menial as it means. So I'm no wealthy individual by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I'm probably poorer than most of you watching this video. So please send me money so I can buy jackets that fit. No, I'm just joking. But the point is that I think it's an interesting age we live in, but a dangerous one. The main reason for this is because we're only becoming more and more dependent on technology to regulate, to protect, to inform and enforce various aspects of our lives. And I think it's important to always remember that we have to stand firm with these things. We have to fight on certain aspects that might seem menial at the time, but once you set the precedent, you can move forward. Now, what I mean by this is that I recently started fighting these copyright claims on my channel. In fact, I've had, I think it's 10 to 15 odd, and they range from being completely stupid, like really stupid, to I can kind of see why they have a point. But ultimately, none of the videos I've ever posted infringe copyright in any way, shape or form. They do use copyrighted materials, but it's always for the informative purpose of review or critique, and it's always condoned under fair use. If I was to take this stuff to court, I'd win. Will I take it to court though? You tell me. I put on a hat rather than put hair gel in my hair to look presentable to you. So do you think I can be asked to go to court and sue this? No, ain't gonna happen. And they know that's what the case may be. So it's kind of sad in that sense. But nevertheless, it's still within my power and within your power to fight and to govern your own, your own data, your own information, what you reveal, what you don't. And more importantly, what makes you you. You have the right to protect your intellectual property. You have the right to protect your digital footprint and all the rest of these things. So I ask people to be mindful of this. The reason for this is because up until recently, I didn't think to fight back. I just kind of accepted it as part of, the culture of YouTube. I have to make things a certain way based on what someone else is telling me. Well, I call bullshit on that. If the rules state I'm allowed to do something and some bully wants to come along and tell me I can't do it, well then I'm going to fight back. It's no different than my real life. Often it's a dumb idea in real life because most people can kick the living out of me, even though I weigh probably a good 10 stone more than them at this point. But the point is that I think it's important to stand your ground. I think it's important to make sure that what you invest in and what you put your heart and soul into, you keep, and you make sure you protect it. And with YouTube censorship, for me, for instance, it's a big violation of the reason why I do what I do, which is acknowledgement of a product that I've produced for the enjoyment of, dare I say it, my fans? I don't want to call people fans. It sounds like I'm putting them down. It's like they don't have an investment in the show. Because I think fan denotes a degree of separation between creator and audience. And I'd like to think I'm as close to my audience as anyone else is. In fact, if any of my audience want to come on the show or contribute, god damn, you're welcome to do so. And that will always remain the case. The idea, sooner or later, is to grow Halcyon into around 1,000 subscribers. Reason for this? I think it's manageable. I think 1,000 subscribers, I'd still be able to interact with my audience in the way that I want to interact with my audience. 10,000, 100,000, million, yeah, maybe it'd start making money, but then you'd lose the reason why you do it in the first place. I'll always find ways to make money, which are menial and kind of draining, which is kind of what my job is right now. It's very, very demanding, intellectually and physically and emotionally. But anyway, point being is that I think that this channel can grow. And it won't grow while people are trying to bully it and steal copyright from me. So with that in mind, I would invite people to take a stand against these things. If you're on Facebook and, maybe not, don't just post stuff for the sake of posting it. Pick up the phone and have a conversation with somebody and let it spread that way. If you produce something on Facebook or you produce something on YouTube or VidMe or wherever it is you post it to, make sure you stamp it with your own seed of authority. Shout it loud, shout it proud. I've kind of gone off on a bit of a tangent this one, but the reason why I wanted to talk about YouTube censorship is because it's a kind of a weird branching subject that touches on a lot of things: corporations bullying smaller content providers, and indeed this ominous overlord of information technology gods who kind of dictate what we do and how we do it. Fight the power, people! I think that's the right message. I'm somewhat of an anarchist on this show. I don't know why. I'm wearing a jacket. I'm supposed to be talking all prim and proper. Instead I'm ringing Anarchy! Rage Against the Machine for #1, Christmas #1, dudes! Woo! Anyways, that'll bring... that was a really stupid point to end on, but nevertheless, this weekly show has kind of been ill thought out. I wanted to put this one out. I hadn't made a weekly show in a couple of months, and I really wanted to. This is kind of my outlet to tell it like it is. I never get over that one comment, you don't really tell it how it is. Listen, you're not in my mind, dude. I'll tell you how it is up here. Just because it's not hardcore for you doesn't mean I can't, say it my way. Anyways, back on to the outro of the show, shall we? Thank you very much for watching this episode of the weekly show. Please like, share, or dislike, subscribe or unsubscribe. See if I care. Thanks very much for everyone who supported the show recently. I think at the release of this video, I'll be tipping over 100 videos, over 100 subscribers, and coming up to 5,500 views, which is pretty intense, not gonna lie. Really happy with some of the content that's being produced now, and the quality of it, and the relevance of it, and the writing of it. It's getting better. Not great still, not great. I'd like it to be better, but I appreciate everyone that comments, anyone that likes, anyone that shares. I'd also like to give a big shout out to the opportunity that Cinematic Venom has given me recently to allow me to post videos onto his channel. Hopefully reaching a wider audience or a more diverse audience, and allowing them to kind of comment on my stuff and make it better, make my channel bigger. Who knows what the future may hold. So thank you very much again for watching. Stay tuned. Leave your comments in the comment section below about other weekly shows, what I could do there, or indeed comments regarding this show. If you've got any controversial opinions you want to share here, do you know what? Ignore everything I've just said. Let it rip in the comment section. It'll be awesome to debate them with you. So take care of yourselves, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys on the next weekly episode. Screw the outro again! I'll see you guys on the next episode of The Weekly Show. I've been your host, Lorne Riseley. Take care.